Hey, what's up everyone? James and Cuervo Negro from Junkyard Fox. Thank you so much for joining us. And today we have our first Q&A session of the year 2024. So the last couple of months have been very exciting, a lot of traveling, a lot of great videos and adventures. But I do gotta admit, I'm a little bit burnt out from all the traveling and hurrying up and editing a video and then traveling again. So today we're taking it easy, having a couple of cold ones, enjoying the sunset. So today we're answering 10 of your questions. If we did not answer your questions, folks, it's because we have already probably answered those questions. A lot of the common ones are, when and where did Cuervo and I meet? If you want that one answered, check out this video up here in the corner. Another common one we get is, have you ever experienced something unexplainable or supernatural while in the outdoors? If you want that one answered, check out this Q&A right here. And without further ado, we did select 10 that we really liked for this session. Get yourself a cold one, pull up a chair, and join us. Cheers, brother.
Cheers.
Let's get started. So question number 1 comes from Jeff Slavin, who asks, do you have any film projects in the works? Not anymore for 2024. We already did our film project back in February, where we filmed the Cuervo Negro music video for the song Sleepwalker. Be sure to check out that music video if you haven't yet, up here in the corner. We are tremendously proud of that music video. It's definitely a creative high for us in terms of script and directing and acting and all that stuff. Just, I could not be more proud of how it came out. However, those videos tend to be more complicated. As you can easily imagine, it gets complicated quickly. I mean, it's hard enough for Cuervo and I to sync together our schedules and film a Fox video. So can you imagine 7 of us, right? So it gets pretty complicated quickly and stressful, and it's a lot of resources and money and all that stuff. So we already did Sleepwalker. We are discussing what's the next Cuervo Negro song we should make a music video for. But whatever we developed, it's not going to kind of take into production until probably next year. Question number 2 comes from Hugh Hunt, who asks, did you enjoy camping before YouTube? No extensive filming / content creation. And sub-question, do you find more time for camping because of YouTube? Interesting question. Basically, the pros and cons of being an outdoor YouTuber now. I wouldn't say that I enjoyed camping before YouTube more. I just think it was easier to enjoy camping before, because before it was just a vacation. I just go camping and I set up my tent and cook my food and enjoy the sunset. Now it's work. You got to get out there and, oh, we're going to chop up veggies to make a stew. Make sure the camera's rolling while we chop up that potato. Now change that camera angle and chop up this onion. And now change that camera angle and put the pot over the fire. And, you're enjoying the sunset. Make sure that camera's filming time lapse so you can get that, so it is work. I still enjoy being outside, but you do not forget that you're there to work. So it's give and take. There's going to be times that I do get really stressed and I do go and camp and I don't film anything. I just go and just enjoy myself. You have to give yourself a little bit of that leeway. As for the sub question, do you find more time for camping because of YouTube? Yes, definitely. I always enjoyed nature, but before Junkyard Fox, I may have camped possibly at most 5 times a year. Now I camp at the very least twice a month because the algorithm, because the audience. However, to look at the positive side, it pushes me to go camp in new environments, camp with new gear or less gear, camp in different seasons. And so it makes it more exciting. It pushes you more, but it also pushes you to get out of your comfort zone and you become far more adaptable at camping and survival far faster because you have to. Question number 3 comes from Elky5987, who asks, how do you pick your locations to do overnighters, both stealth and regular? Majority is experience. Because I've been camping for years, I know what's a cool campsite in this region, what's a cool campsite for this time of year, which ones are too populated for that time of year, so on and so forth. So a lot of it is just past experiences. Secondly is scouting. If there's a place I've never been to, I like to go scout it, if possible, ahead of time, so I can know, is it cinematic? Is it nice? Is it too packed with people? Or is it too dangerous? Especially with stealth camping. That one You do have to scout ahead of time because it's called stealth camping, not suicidal camping. So there's times where, you want to give it a challenge, but you don't want to take, a guaranteed risk. And so, for example, there was this abandoned Wiener Schnitzel restaurant that I was planning to do a stealth camping last year, actually. And I was thinking of filming there. However, the problem is that place was concentrated with a lot of vagrants and stuff like that. And they were violent vagrants. They would be yelling and this and that. And I thought to myself, there's no way that they're not going to see me here. It's inevitable because they're like 30 feet away from me. They're going to hear me or whatever, and it's guaranteed conflict. I decided against it. So scout the area, look for what's the resources, look for what's the danger, and you make the decision there. And then lastly, if I'm going to be traveling with someone, there's going to be a guest on the channel, you trust them. So, for example, my buddy Shadow's a walking encyclopedia for southwestern camping spots. And so I camped with them just a couple of weeks ago, and I knew to trust him where he was going to take us. And sure enough, he took us to some of the most beautiful areas of New Mexico I have ever seen. Question number 4 comes from the Arkansas Bushcrafter, who asks, who is each of y'all's favorite YouTuber to watch for bushcraft and camping? Cuervo?
So it used to be the Black Owl Outdoors fellas. Sadly, they don't make any videos anymore, but I always liked their cinematography and their knowledge. But rest in peace. I mean, if you guys come back, cool. But recently I've been watching 2 channels. One of them is the Wimpy Camper. She does mostly reels, shorts on Instagram and YouTube like that. But I really like her setup. It's very simple and very rudimentary in sorts. It's not hardcore survival and things like that. It's just enjoying a nice cup of tea over a small flame, and very simplistic, but she's very quirky too. And her choice of music in the reels is another cool point in my book because I like a lot of the bands she chooses. And then the second one is a YouTuber named Nicholas. His channel is called Wituik in Backcountry and Workshop, and he does a lot of cowboy camping, a lot of what we do too, but he's up in the mountains and the forest and stuff. But I really enjoy his videos because he doesn't talk that much. There's not a lot of dialogue, there's not a lot of music. It's just you experiencing the moments with him. And sometimes you have his little dog and his Winchester and his wife. They're cool. Very cinematic, very movie-like, and it's almost dreamlike. That's why I like it too.
For me, I don't think I have any favorite. I haven't watched a ton of bushcraft the last couple of years on YouTube. I will say this, though, when it comes to American channels, there's 2 I really enjoy. One is Catch and Cook California. That's my buddy. As you can imagine, he's in California. And I feel like he's in a completely different planet for me. I'm a desert rat. Large bodies of water are a rarity for me to see. And here's this guy jumping into the sea, and he's swimming, and he's spearfishing and catching eels and lobsters and then cooking them up and making a delicious soup out of them. And then also Frontier Trading Company. He's in Ohio. He does the reenactments. He'll go camp out wearing buckskins, and he's got a musket. And very enjoyable channel to watch, very relaxing. And then I've also been going through a phase where I've been watching a couple of Australian bushcraft channels. There's one channel called The Bearded Bushwhacker. Really great guy. The second guy, I cannot recall his name. I'll annotate all these names down below. I want to say his name was like Ryan Warwick or something like that. I could be wrong. Another really cool guy. And, they're Australians. Really cool. So, once again, all these channels, give them some love. They're smaller channels. They deserve a lot more eyeballs and a lot more love.
All right, so the question number 5 comes from JHunter213. Cuervo, would you ever do a stealth camp video? At the moment, no, but James over here, he's the stunt guy. If you guys see explosions and gunfire and stuff like that, he's the one taking the hits. But no, all kidding aside, James is the more experienced hunter and gatherer and outdoorsman than I am, but he's the hoodlum. He's the one that puts himself in danger, but I'll let him explain that situation a little bit more. But if something ever comes up where I would feel comfortable doing, then yeah, for sure, I would do a stealth camp for you guys. So
Yeah, so with Cuervo, I feel that when we're doing stealth camping, it's getting a little bit of a gray area in terms of trespassing, breaking the law, putting yourself in danger. And I don't think there's a need to have both of us there and taking unnecessary risks. Now, if I'm going to take these chances, there's no sense in bringing him with me and then we both get in trouble or worse, get injured or whatever the case may be. So I've never pressured him to do anything that he's not comfortable with. So if there's ever a time, once again, if that, there's a place that we're both, okay, this looks like a cool place, let's do it. But if not, I'm not here to be that bad influence or anything like that. For now, I think the Stealth Camping series is a solo series, but we'll see. You never know in the future. Once again, I just don't want to get him put him in a place where he's not comfortable. You guys ever down to do a survival challenge type video? Like something happened and you only have your go bag. Yes, that is probably the most important video I have planned for this year. I've been wanting to do it since last year. And what I want to do is I want to take a pack, like my bug out bag or a stealth camping pack, and I want to make it a solid 3 days out there. Not just an overnighter, but actually spend several days there and, locate a food source and whatever the case may be. But because it's 3 days, it's a little tricky because I have a day job, I have cats at home, so on and so forth. So it gets a little complicated, and I do got to scout for a potential good spot for me. So I do got to scout New Mexico and find a place where I would have water and a potential food source, because you also have to have a strategy where you're going to go. It doesn't matter if you have a great 30-pound pack. If you're going to the middle of the desert where there's guaranteed no water, you're just shooting yourself in the foot. So if I could find a great spot, I want to film a solid 3-day adventure there. Question number 7 comes from Me With Knives 9212, who asks, 1, favorite blade shape, 2, favorite blade steel, 3, fixed or folder, and 4, favorite knife company. All right, favorite blade shape, I like a butcher style type blade. I like something with the belly, very thin, something where you can skin game. Ever since like 2013 or 14, where Dave Canterbury was running around with this butcher knife that he found for $3 at some swap meet, I just fell in love with that look. I just like the old school retro, old-timey look. As far as favorite blade steel, I'm not a steel snob, so I don't know everything about that kind of stuff, but I do like a stainless steel. So give me something AEBL, 12C27 and steel, 13C28 and steel, like the Mora Constable and the Garberg. I love those. Something that is resistant against tarnishing and rust. I like that. Fixed or folder, fixed any day of the week. I have like 30 fixed blade knives. I possibly have like 2 folders, but even then I wouldn't know where they are right now. Favorite knife company, probably Green River Knives, American made since 1834, a rich American history. Check out my video on them right here. All right, and Cuervo, what is your favorite blade shape?
I'd have to go with the Green River Hunter. I like that it's versatile for both daily and outdoors. And the Green River Hunter shape. There you go.
Favorite blade steel?
The 1095 carbon. I remember the Mora Companion was the first blade that I had that was in that steel, but it forced me to take care of it, sharpen it, and to really, really dry it, and after you do things with it. So it really made me appreciate how easily it is to work with. So to sharpen it, to take care of it, and things like that. And fixed or folder, I'd have to go with both. I don't know. I don't have a preference. But I like them both. I always try to carry a fixed blade and a folder with me at all times. I don't like to use my fixed blade on mundane things, so that's why you bust out your folder and you open boxes, you do your mundane things with it. So favorite company, I would have to go with the Green River Knives. They're both aesthetic and utility. So they look cool and they work. So to me, that's like a 10/10++.
Yep.
And then with folders, I like Schrade knives and Smith & Wesson. They're just beat up knives, you just use them for almost anything and you don't feel bad. Okay, so question number 8 comes from Ginseng Joe. He or she asks, cheers from Phoenix. I was wondering if you ever received any musical training in school or throughout your adult life. I've been amazed by the progress of Cuervo Negro soundtrack over the years and take lots of inspiration from it. My recent favorites are Ghost Wind and Pine Needle Tea. I love the chill vibes coming from both. First of all, I'd like to say thank you for taking inspiration and listening. I really appreciate it. But to answer your question, I've been self-taught since I picked up my first guitar. And when I was young, I had a little tape recorder, and every time Crazy Train would come out on the radio, I would run and hit record on it and try to mimic Randy Rhoads' solos in a little crappy Lotus electric guitar. Strangely, that company doesn't exist anymore, but it was a cool guitar. But yeah, I'm mostly self-taught. In high school, I played the trombone a little bit, and I learned a little bit about like major scales and things like that, but nothing that I didn't read already kind of knew. And I learned musical theory in a very rudimentary way where I know how it works, but I can't tell you specifically or the philosophy behind it. And yeah, so I've been mostly self-taught. But if you have formal training, or if you have the ability to take formal training or to get better training, I say go for it. But I considered myself a very unconventional artist because I have a range of styles and things that I listen to. My girlfriend calls me the human jukebox because I'll show her Cascadian black metal to like 100-year-old folk Irish songs. I don't know. It's just, there's a variety of everything.
So question number 9 comes from Daniel Sims, who asks, I'm not sure if it's too late for this question, but after doing the thrift store challenge, did either of you keep the items, or were they given away or returned to another Goodwill store? So what Daniel's talking about is last week's video where Cuervo and I traveled to Arizona, from Texas to Arizona, with no camping gear. And we had $100 between both of us to scout the local Goodwill stores of Phoenix, get enough camping gear to get out, camp, and enjoy ourselves and test out that gear. And it was a success. Once again, check out that video up here in the corner if you haven't checked it out yet. Great stuff. And we still have all that gear. It's still in my truck. There are some things we're definitely going to keep. For me, I want to keep that little stainless steel pot because it's nice and lightweight as opposed to my cast iron pot. So if I'm traveling light, like stealth camping, that's a welcome addition right there. Saves me some weight. I also want to keep that pop-up beach tent. It just seems very nice for fair weather camping. I know Cuervo Negro for sure wants to keep the duffel bag that we had. It was brand new, so he wants to keep that duffel bag. And anything we don't need, we're just going to gift it back. We're thrifting it back.
Okay, so the last question comes from El Coyote 9410. Hey Cuervo, do you ever try and talk to James about the other side? Or is he too grounded to be open to those realms? So if you're new to the channel, I always like to think that our dynamic is very balanced. I'm the more spiritual one, and James is the more down-to-earth person. We always make sure to give thanks to the land for giving us permission to set camp and to make fire and to calming the winds, and even down to the hunt, where we give thanks to the life it gives to us and how we receive the information and transform it and give it to you, the viewer. That's one thing I've always appreciated about James, is he's more open-minded to these things, but honestly, he's more spiritual than he lives on. I think it's a very balanced dynamic of being self-aware of your environment and your place in the ecosystem of nature, and how spiritual something could be, whereas just being open-minded or tolerant to it. But yeah, what do you think, James?
We've had this conversation many times when we're having some beers around the campfire, and he'll explain to me how he views the world and the universe and the afterlife, and I'll explain my side. And one thing that's always been very great about Corvo and I is that we've always respected each other. He's never pushed his beliefs on me or me to him, and like I'm right, you're wrong, or vice versa. And so we're able to have these conversations without arguing or ridiculing each other or anything like that. And so yeah, he's the more spiritual one. I'm not. I'm definitely more like science based. But I would be an absolute arrogant fool to say that if it doesn't happen in front of me, it can't exist, because not everything can be proven through a textbook or through a university class. There's some things we have yet to discover. There are some things humans may not ever be able to comprehend, and some things are beyond what our little puny brains can, process. And so, I'm always aware of that. I can't be, I'm not a know-it-all. And so even though I may not fully agree or see his side of the story, I respect him. Getting out to nature, I realized that it is a spiritual journey. It is a very healing thing to enjoy nature and see the sunset and, be part of that. And it humbles you. So, yeah, maybe he is right. I am more spiritual than I let on. I just don't follow any set doctrine or set rules or set belief system of any form. I just like to get out of nature and just find comfort in it, and maybe there's a spirituality in that comfort. Well, everyone, that is about it for us. The sun is setting. This is the end of our Q&A session for now. We will have a second one sometime around autumn, maybe like October, November. So if you still have any additional questions, chime on down below or comment down below, and we'll select a couple of those for that next video. With that being said, I hope you got to know us just a little bit more as people. And stay tuned. We do have 3 additional Fox videos in various stages of development. Just please be a little patient, because it does take time to edit these videos. And that's about it for us, folks. So as always, thank you so much for joining us. Cheers, brother.
Cheers,
be sure to give us a thumbs up, and we'll see you guys next week with another video. Now go outside and get your boots dirty.